a prince who traded royal slippers for police boots, wrestled wildlife instead of wielding privilege, and faced cancer with a smile. Sounds impossible, right? But this was Prince Abdul Jalil of Johor. Beloved across Malaysia for his courage and humility, his life was as inspiring as it was heartbreaking. Before we dive in, make sure to like this video and subscribe to support stories like this. Today, you'll discover the untold story of a prince who became a legend. Prince Tunku Abdul Jalil entered the world in July 1990. Born into the powerful Johor royal family, a dynasty so influential that its current head, Sultan Ibrahim, is counted among Malaysia's richest men. From the moment he arrived, the expectations were enormous. Even his name carried weight. Abdul Jalil, meaning servant of the Almighty, is a reminder of the humility and leadership his parents hoped he would one day embody. For most people, being born into a royal family means one thing: unimaginable privilege. And the Johor royals aren't just any royals. Their legacy stretches back centuries, respected across Malaysia for their authority, wealth, and deep-rooted traditions. So naturally, many assumed young Abdul Jalil would follow the golden script: luxury, status, and a life lived comfortably above the rest. But he didn't. From his earliest years, Abdul Jalil stood out for reasons no one expected. Instead of drifting toward extravagance, he found himself fascinated by the natural world, animals, science, and the quiet logic of the ecosystem around him. While his classmates flipped through textbooks, he was already dreaming about a future shaped by curiosity rather than privilege. He studied in Johor, excelled academically, and nurtured a growing love for zoology, a passion that would later define him far more than his royal title ever could. Behind the palaces and ceremonies was a young prince quietly carving his own identity, humble, driven, and deeply committed to learning and serving. This was the beginning of a life that refused to fit the royal mold. But Abdul Jalil's story didn't stop at curiosity. From a very young age, he displayed an extraordinary fascination with animals and the natural world. Isn't it incredible that a prince born into immense wealth and centuries of royal tradition would trade the comforts of palace life for reptile cages and wildlife trails? He began with a humble but meaningful role, spending a year as a reptile caretaker at the Singapore Zoo. There, he gained hands-on experience with snakes, lizards, and other creatures, learning the patience and dedication needed to care for them. This wasn't just a hobby, it was a calling, one that shaped his future path. Determined to deepen his understanding, Abdul Jalil traveled to the United Kingdom to study at the prestigious Zoological Society of London. There, he pursued zoology with relentless focus, graduating with honors, proving that his passion was not a royal whim, but a serious scientific commitment. Upon returning to Malaysia, he put his knowledge into practice. At the Orangutan Rehabilitation Center in the Kabili Sepalak Forest Reserve, he worked directly with endangered orangutans, helping with their protection and rehabilitation. For Abdul Jalil, actions always mattered more than status, yet his compassion extended far beyond animals. He became actively involved with medical charities, especially the Malaysian Red Crescent Society, leveraging his royal influence to raise funds, organize relief programs, and ensure aid reached those who needed it most. Throughout his life, Prince Abdul Jalil quietly demonstrated that true royalty is measured not by wealth or titles, but by humility, service, and heart. He chose dedication over indulgence, action over ceremony, and genuine care over prestige. And isn't that exactly what makes his story so extraordinary? A prince whose legacy isn't just in his lineage, but in the lives he touched and the world he sought to protect. And what came next in Abdul Jalil's life might surprise you even more. Isn't that crazy in the best way possible? From an early age, Prince Abdul Jalil showed a deep fascination with animals that set him apart from many of his royal peers. While others might have leaned into luxury and leisure, he leaned into curiosity and compassion. This passion led him to take a humble but impactful role as a reptile caretaker at the Singapore Zoo. For a whole year, he cared for different species, studying their behavior and understanding their needs up close. Not from a distance, not from a textbook, but hands-on. Driven to learn more, Abdul Jalil then enrolled at the prestigious Zoological Society of London. There, he dived into scientific research and studies, eventually graduating with honors. That wasn't just academic success. It was proof that his love for zoology wasn't a royal hobby, but a real, disciplined pursuit. When he returned to Malaysia, he didn't settle into comfort. Instead, he joined the Orangutan Rehabilitation Center in the Kabili Sepalak Forest Reserve, working directly with orphaned and injured orangutans. He wasn't posing for photos. He was rehabilitating animals, helping them regain strength and return to the wild. Who would expect a prince to choose such a path? As he grew older, his compassion expanded from wildlife to human welfare. He became a major supporter and eventually vice president of the Malaysian Red Crescent Society, using his royal influence to raise significant funds for medical charities and disaster relief efforts. And he didn't just sign papers. He ensured aid actually reached people in need. Through every phase of his life, Abdul Jalil proved that true nobility comes from service, humility, and heart, not titles or wealth. And just when people thought they understood who Abdul Jalil was, the humble, animal-loving prince who preferred muddy boots over royal shoes, he shocked everyone again. Because who would have imagined that a prince devoted to orangutans and wildlife would suddenly choose one of the most dangerous careers in the country? Isn't that crazy? At just 21, Abdul Jalil made a decision that defied every expectation placed upon a royal. He joined the Royal Malaysian Police. While many assumed his future would follow a ceremonial or administrative path within palace walls, he chose the opposite, a life on the ground, serving and protecting ordinary Malaysians. His police journey began with rigorous training at the Royal Malaysian Police Training Center, where he endured the same grueling physical and mental tests as every other recruit. No special treatment, no shortcuts. His determination stood out instantly, and within a year he earned a rapid promotion to the rank of inspector. But the biggest surprise came at age 23 when he qualified for the Elite Special Actions Unit, Malaysia's top anti-terrorism force. This unit is reserved for the best of the best, and no member of royalty had ever joined before. Yet there he was, choosing danger over comfort, service over ceremony. In this role, Abdul Jalil proved he was far more than a symbolic prince. His courage, discipline, and humility earned him deep respect from his fellow officers. And for the public, his decision to stand shoulder to shoulder with ordinary Malaysians made him even more beloved. The prince's prince who didn't just wear a crown, but carried responsibility with heart. And just when it seemed like Abdul Jalil couldn't possibly add more layers to his already extraordinary life, he revealed yet another unexpected passion. Beyond his official duties, Prince Abdul Jalil found peace and purpose in sailing. But unlike many royals who preferred luxury yachts, he chose the simplicity of small sailboats, vessels that demanded skill, discipline, and a true connection with nature. For him, sailing wasn't an indulgence, it was a mindset, a way to stay grounded, focused, and healthy. But here's the part that made his love for sailing even more inspiring. He didn't keep it to himself. Seeing the sport's potential to empower the next generation, he launched programs specifically for underprivileged youth. Over 5,000 young Malaysians were introduced to sailing through his initiatives, kids who might never have stepped onto a boat if not for him. To strengthen Malaysia's sailing culture, he founded Liga Layar Malaysia, a national series of competitive regattas with cash prizes. These events uncovered new talent and opened doors for young sailors to compete internationally. Through sailing, Abdul Jalil wasn't just promoting a sport, he was breaking social barriers, motivating youth, and showing them that their dreams weren't limited by their background. His authenticity made him not just a prince, but a mentor and a friend to thousands. But even with everything he had already accomplished, from wildlife conservation to anti-terrorism service to empowering thousands of young sailors, life had one more unimaginable challenge waiting for Prince Abdul Jalil. And this time, it wasn't something he could outtrain, outstudy, or outsail. In 2014, Abdul Jalil was diagnosed with liver cancer, a devastating blow not just to his family but to the entire nation that had come to love him. He underwent intensive treatment in both Malaysia and China, including a liver transplant that initially gave everyone hope. For a moment, it felt like he might beat the odds, but the victory was temporary. Yet what made him extraordinary wasn't just his fight, it was the way he faced it. Even in the hospital, he stayed cheerful, joking with nurses and laughing through the pain. Some of those moments went viral, showing a prince who refused to let illness steal his spirit. Isn't that the kind of strength we rarely see? As his condition worsened, Malaysians watched with heartbreak, but also with deep admiration. Abdul Jalil became a symbol of resilience, a young man facing the unthinkable with grace and courage. In his final 6 months, he received supportive care, fully aware that his time was limited. But he never lost hope, never lost kindness, and never stopped inspiring the people who loved him. And then, in early December 2015, the moment Malaysians prayed would never come, Prince Abdul Jalil passed away at just 25. The nation felt the loss instantly, a wave of grief that spread far beyond Johor. Thousands lined up at the royal palace to pay their respects, mourning not just a prince, but a young hero who had given every part of his short life to service. His coffin was adorned with his police cap and sword, powerful symbols of the duty, courage, and protection he embodied until the very end. Even in death, he was honored as an officer, a leader, and a servant of the people. Sultan Ibrahim, devastated, vowed to continue his son's fight against cancer. In Abdul Jalil's memory, the Tunku Laksamana Johor Cancer Center was built, now one of Southeast Asia's leading cancer facilities. His legacy lives on in every life it saves. Prince Abdul Jalil shattered every stereotype of royalty. He proved that true nobility isn't measured in crowns or titles, but in courage, humility, and the heart to serve. His life, from rescuing wildlife to fighting crime, empowering youth, and battling cancer with a smile, left a legacy far greater than anyone expected. Today, his spirit lives on not just in the cancer center that carries his name, but in the millions who remember him as Malaysia's People's King of Souls, a prince who chose purpose over privilege, action over applause. So let his story push us to be better, to care deeper, give more, and stand up for others the way he did. Honor his legacy, support cancer awareness, and remember, heroes don't always wear crowns. Sometimes they wear uniforms, carry hope, and change the world in just 25 years.